like. Pretty bonny view, eh? Loch Moy. Somewhere I've been, fuck knows how many times over the years. Just making a wee video here. Just for the sake of it, I guess. A few things are sort of what set the record straight on. But there's like a larger point to it. First and foremost, for anybody that was to have given me the time of the day over the past few years, or the past few months even, I know damn well that like the sort of implosion, for lack of a better term, regarding my fucking life and whatnot. It's sort of been an ongoing occurrence since 2021 going into 2022. More so 2022 though. And I was plagued with substance abuse, shall we say, due to personal issues, personal demons, stuff that some people know, some people don't know about. But the point I'm getting at in that regard is that the vast majority of people didn't know, So when you fast forward to like the last few months, not so much the last few months, but end of last year anyway, the amount of shit that was being said about me online, that isn't to negate any responsibility from parts I did play, but as with everything, stories grow arms and legs, and a lot of accusations were thrown my way, including people trying to throw at me that I use, or I have been using, mental health as an excuse, etc. It's just fucking bullshit. If that was the case, I would have been doing so since 2022 and onwards. Most people didn't have a fucking clue what was going on in my life. I am over the other side of it now in terms of like, I don't get pissed all the time. So there's that. And then I'm no out my face all the time like I was. But there is still a lingering problem, which is depression. And it's something that it's very difficult to sort of put words to be honest. And it's just something that lingers. Never been diagnosed with anything, And I don't necessarily think even getting diagnosed with something would make anything any better. I refuse to go down the route of pills and all that shit to try and make myself any better. My therapy's always been going out on hikes and all that shit. Hence why I started up my wee channel back in the day, But the last few months especially have been tough for me because I work on building sites all the time, and I recently had to resit my CSCS test to get back on the building sites, and I keep failing at it, which is a sign that I shouldn't be failing. Passed it first time when I was a young pup. I keep failing it now, which subsequently means that I'm fucking stuck. Come here, little ball. Subsequently means that I'm now enjoying the unemployment life again. And with depression comes its own problems, most of which don't really get spoken about all too often, Days upon days upon days of struggling to find the fucking willpower to get up and make an effort, lack of motivation, you can't be arsed conversing with people and whatnot. You can't be arsed doing day-to-day basic things, Going to work's a struggle when you've got a job. Socialising's a problem. trying to find better work, stuff that could better your life, all the usual things that you can think of become a burden, you know. And then in my particular instance, in this particular scenario, quite a good few months now where I've had next to no contact with most of the people that I once upon a time considered friends. And I don't want to sound like a hypocrite here, because I've always said that, you know, everybody's life is their own responsibility and all the rest of it. It's entirely up to you to sort of do what needs to be done to get by. But it's been hard for me to go about my life the same way that I used to, because 95% of the people that I thought were my pals back in the day are gone. So it's been a good period of like next to 100% social isolation. Me and this little fucker, eh? Hey, puppy. Yeah. Just. And then you get the usual pests that go, real men don't cry. Man up, bro. All this fucking bollocks, You can go through the motions, and I was going through the motions for the longest time. I was going through the motions. I was going to work every single day. Still felt shit. You know? If anything though, unfortunately, the last several months have sort of made me feeling shit even worse. Exacerbation, whatever you want to call it, you know? Which leads me to, before I conclude this, stuff I've talked about quite often in the past on this channel. And I have always been a sort of stickler for not sticking to my own advice. If you start to feel shit, and I know it's difficult because when you start to feel shit, you don't necessarily realise that until it's far too late. You need to seek fucking help, You need to do something about it, because if you don't, it's just going to get worse, and eventually your life will begin to fucking implode there. You know, I've had this YouTube channel since what? I was 17, 18. Almost 10 years. And I made some good mates along the way. I made some enemies along the way. Truth be told though, there's one thing you can't call me, and that's inconsistent. For better or for worse. Made no secret to some about my issues, on and off. I'll be damned if people are going to fucking sit there and insinuate that this whole fucking escapade that I've been on the past few months is all for attention. If it was for attention, then I would have been talking about it years ago, as I say. Anyway, adios.